We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the aims of Cardano to increase prosperity for those who don't have it. Today, we're going to talk about another side of that coin. You. Ready? Let's go. If you follow this channel, you already know we don't do the financial advice thing here. We don't do the investment advice thing here. I don't tell you about Fibonacci levels. I don't draw any Ichimoku clouds for you. There are no Fibonacci dishes being served on the Army of Spies channel. We don't do that kind of advice. But today we are going to talk about the fact that despite the philosophy of Cardano being linked to certain altruistic goals, it's also philosophically okay for you to make money. We're all humans, and most of us on this channel probably live in very capitalist societies, no matter what they call themselves. Looking at you, China. To make certain things happen in these societies, we have to actually spend money. If you want to attempt to contribute to more sustainable consumption of energy in transportation by buying an electric vehicle, or if you don't care at all about EVs, you truly love internal combustion engines, and you just want to own a piece of the history of the development of that technology, if you want to live in a tiny home or a giant home so you can quit enriching your landlord, or even if you just want to make microloans to the developing world, you need to spend money. In most modern Western societies, there are a lot of things you just won't be able to do without money. Money isn't bad, it's necessary. This particular ecosystem that we're all part of was founded by a guy who is a crazy billionaire. He's now 33 years old. He made a bunch of money on Bitcoin. If he had given away all of his Bitcoin, like he did his Ethereum to his administrative assistant, if he'd given away all of his Bitcoin back in the day, he might not have been able to do all these wonderful things he's doing today. If he'd given away all of his Bitcoin because he was completely altruistic, he may never have been able to found an IOHK. We wouldn't see him on videos every couple of days making all these micro loans to the developing world. He wouldn't be building out an infrastructure that might help push prosperity into the developing world. He made a bunch of money on Bitcoin, and spending that money has allowed him to do some wonderful things that he probably would not have been able to do if he'd been working 9 to 5 for somebody else because he never made that money. Here's what I'm getting at. You may want or need to take profits at some point. I'm not going to tell you if that's the case. I'm just saying it's okay. I have always held that no one actually knows what the markets are going to do. No one knows the future, and the markets are chaos and extremely complex. What we do know about is the past. The history of crypto has been one of unbelievable exponential highs and unbelievable crashes. HODLing large cap cryptos over the long term has been a huge winner, but there were crashes in there. We don't know. I think no one knows. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows whether those cycles continue or not. Staking rewards might affect the game theoretics and psychology of people who are trying to decide whether to hodl or to sell. But in the past, we did see peaks and crashes. And we saw some events that were kind of dramatic. At one peak, we saw Charlie Lee, the founder of Litecoin, decide to sell his stake in Litecoin. He sold on top, took profit, and avoided the crash. LTC was his invention, and he took some amount of public heat for this decision. But it turned out to be smart. he sold on top and avoided the crash. You can make your own value judgments on that and read whatever intentions you want into it. But he did sell when things were good. And if he wanted to later on, he could have come back in and actually increased the amount of Litecoin that he held. I won't even pretend to know whether or not his strategy will be a good one going forward in Cardano. Like I said, markets are chaos, and I have no idea. I have no idea if Cardano will follow this pattern that has been present in crypto's past, or if Cardano will do something brand new that defies all of those conventions. What I am saying is that you have no duty to hodl through a peak and then a crash due to some invisible moral obligation to the Cardano community. You should do whatever you think is in your own best interest. That might be selling when things are good, taking profits, spending some of it even, then coming back and buying even more with your profits when things aren't so good. It might be that you decide you're going to hodl forever and only ever spend your staking rewards. There are certainly a large number of people in the Cardano community who go online all the time and claim that's exactly what they're going to do. And who knows, maybe they're right. I have no idea. Maybe that's the best strategy. Who knows? All I'm saying is that you shouldn't take anything on this channel as advice that you shouldn't take profits. It may be that staking forever and only selling rewards is the way to go. It may be that selling it all when things are good and then rebuying on the low is the way to go. I don't know because I have no idea what the markets are going to do. I also don't know what's best for you. But one of my biggest fears is that anybody would watch this channel where we talk about technology and innovation and developments in the Cardano ecosystem and how they relate to the greater crypto ecosystem. But one of my biggest fears is that somebody will watch this channel and somehow take that to mean that they shouldn't sell, they shouldn't take profits, they hodl all the way through a peak and a crash, and then they come to me and say that if not for this channel, they would have taken some profits, and because of the channel, they had so much optimism, they lost a small fortune for their family. I don't want anybody to do that. So please know when we're talking about technological innovation and great things happening in Cardano on this channel, it's not advice as to whether you should buy, sell, hold Cardano, not hold Cardano. We're just talking about the technology and the ecosystem. And I'm not trying to encourage anybody to make any decision one way or the other about what they should do with their own personal money. That's completely up to you. And I'm never going to be mad at anybody or say anything bad about anybody who says, hey, I sold all my Cardano and bought blank thing. There's no moral obligation for you to restrain yourself in that regard. Cardano at this point is going to be just fine. Whether you or I or anybody in Cardano continues holding Cardano and staking isn't going to be determinative of Cardano's future. Cardano is going to be a-okay. And if you do decide that you're going to take profits, who knows? You might take that money and it might allow you to do something that's far greater, far more beneficial to everybody than if you just stayed doing what you were doing before. Or who knows? Maybe that money will just do something very beneficial for you and the people around you. I mean, I'm not even sure any of us would be here talking about this if Charles hadn't decided to make a ton of money on Bitcoin. So please, if we have a down cycle after all this is over, I don't know if there will be one, but if we do have one, please don't come to me and say you lost a ton of money because you didn't sell because of the enthusiasm that was generated by something on this channel. I'm telling you right now, you can be a member of this ecosystem, a part of this ecosystem, even if you have zero Cardano. You can be an enthusiast of the technology, even if you hold zero Cardano for a period of time or any period of time. This channel is about enthusiasm for the technology and the impacts it might have. You don't have to actually be holding the cryptocurrency to be enthusiastic about that. So just keep this in mind. We're not going to talk about this a lot, but I felt like I had an obligation to put this out there because things in crypto tend to get frothy. Talk to you tomorrow.